For more, let's welcome in Economic Research Fellow at the Heritage Foundation, Joel Griffith, along with President of Strellmark LLC, Hilary Fordwich. Good morning to you both. Thank you for joining us. Look, the office isn't going to be an official department, the DOGE office, but it will offer advice and guidance from outside the government. So, Hilary, what will this agency actually do, and how will Vivek and Elon be able to shake things up to benefit Americans?
Well, thank you for having me, Sarah. I don't think anyone's actually laid out exactly what they're going to do, but I think from everything that's been said and also from how things are done in business, I think we can draw a lot of conclusions. The first thing is, of course, we've always heard about fraud, waste and abuse. The problem has been no one's actually ever addressed it. The only issue we have here is there's only 2.3 million government workers. More than 80% of them are outside of Washington, D.C. So it's not like it's a vast amount of employees, but one looks at any business, just like when Elon Musk bought Twitter, which is now X, he divested of 80,000 employees. So the first thing is, of course, to look at employees. Who's needed, who isn't? I can speculate from everything that's been said that DEI departments will immediately go. But that, of course, is a small percentage. We've already heard that the Department of Education is likely to go and that education should be taken care of in the individual U.S. states. But that's only 445,000 employees. But that's what they'll do first. So number one is look at employees, who's needed, who isn't. Number two, all of these absolutely ludicrous programs. I remember that there was something like, was it $50,000 went to drag shows in Ecuador that we were funding somehow for some reason. Then also there was in Ghana, we're funding a study of seat belts and helmets save lives. Oh, of course. So there were so many of these pet projects that were really actually money laundering because it was, special interest groups that had relationships with those on Capitol Hill. So number one, employees. Number two, special projects like that, I would say, that will disappear. But probably the most important is to look at what is fundamental to the American First agenda. And you go there third, there may be entire departments that need to be either reassigned, realigned. I think that's what you'll see happen in that sort of order of cascading priorities.
Yeah, the two can actually expect pushback. Why? Because when you cut pork, pigs squeal. Let's take a listen to Trump speaking at Mar-a-Lago Thursday, promising to bring back the roaring economy of the 1920s.
We're hotter right now than they ever were in the roaring 20s, I believe, and we're going to be a lot hotter, but we're going to keep it going. We're not going to have 1929 happen. In 1929, they learned a very, very hard lesson, and we're going to turn our country around. We're going to make it so great, so strong, so powerful. We're going to bring it all back.
Well, over the course of the Biden administration, we've seen record high inflation and interest rates. Joel, how quickly can Trump actually bring the economy back to where it needs to be that suits the American people?
Yeah, well, over the past 3 years, American families have lost nearly $3,000 in annual real family income because of the inflation that occurred. If we want to bring inflation, not just bring the inflation rate down, but allow incomes to catch up with these price hikes, we need to see the administration embrace pro-growth economics. I'm very encouraged that there seems to be an emphasis on reducing and cutting regulations. Every year, the federal government releases up to 80,000 pages of new regulations. It is time to put that on hold because those regulations are more dangerous than tax hikes. And I think former President Trump is on the right course here on regulations. If you look at who he nominated just the other day, Chris Wright for Energy Secretary, that is going to be a boon for the economy because electricity costs aren't just important to American families to heat their homes and cool their homes. That's an important factor in growing our food and in manufacturing our goods. So that's important as well. One area of concern is that former President Trump has embraced much higher tariffs on imports. If those tariff hikes would go through, that could add more than $2,000 a year of costs per year to American families. That's the wrong direction. But there's a lot of good being proposed as well in terms of regulation cuts and continuing our fossil fuel boom. That'll be a benefit to businesses and families.
As part of Trump's America First policy plan, he has promised, though, to raise several tariffs against China to consolidate industry inside the country here. But in response, China is now arming itself with sanctions of its own. So Trump first saw his first term, saw the US get involved in a trade war. Hillary, do you think we might get ourselves involved in another one?
I also really, Sarah, that she has already said he wants to work with the new American administration. And I think it's really a negotiation tactic from Trump. I think he negotiates well. He knows what he's doing. I don't think he wants a trade war. Why? If we had a trade war, it wouldn't be good for him. It wouldn't be good for America. And those are the two things he cares about. So, no, I don't think a trade war. I think he's going to use it as a negotiation tactic and succeed.
That's
Nice.
possibly right. But Joel, the same question to you, and I'll add, we have a lot of vulnerability when it comes to China. We learned during COVID that approximately 25-30% of our pharmaceutical ingredients comes from China.
Well, here's the deal. We know that tariffs are taxes. If we put a 35% universal tariff on Chinese imports, that'll mean over $1,500 a year in goods prices increases per family. What we should be doing, of course, is cracking down on illegal China activities. And we know they're engaged in intellectual property theft. But we can do this at the same time while embracing especially free trade with our allies. We know that South Korea, Japan, Vietnam, Australia all want more trade and freer trade with us. This is something we should be cheering, and I'm hopeful it will happen next year.
All right, Joel Griffith, Hillary Fordwich, thank you both so much for your insight. We always appreciate having you on.